And I would like to introduce you to our very first speaker of today. So let's start our spotlight session with Dr. Nagamani Krishnamurthy. And I would like to introduce you to her. She is a passionate childhood educator, researcher, trainer, educational psychologist, and life coach who has 3 decades of experience in the education industry. She has to her credit a doctorate in early childhood education and has been working towards providing a nurturing environment for young children to develop into wholesome personalities. Her mission to reach out to children in need has led her to network with professionals in various countries, and she has been serving the communities with her innovative strategies of nurturing wholesome personalities in young children. Today, she's going to share her insights on creative and critical thinking. So without further ado, I pass the virtual podium to you, Dr. Nagamani. Please share your screen with us.
Thank you so much, Anusha. It's been really lovely being a part of Education Influence, and I'm super excited to talk to all of you and share my few thoughts about the connectivity between emotional intelligence and creative and critical thinking. Before I share my screen, I would like to just share an incident to sensitize you on the topic. Recently, I met a teacher, and that teacher was very frustrated about the classes and the online classes and how she is not able to interact with the children, and also about getting back to the school. In India, we are back to school, and it's been a challenge to get the children back into the school and the classrooms. Parents are worried about sending the children to school, and teachers are also unable to understand how to cope with this transition between online classes to the regular classes. So one thing which she shared was the challenges which a teacher faces in the classroom. Children, some children are brilliant, but you can see that they are not performing very well, or they are not interacting with other children very well. So there is something missing in these children. What is that is not making them to perform well or be their best in the classroom environment is something which the teacher was concerned. If you would like to share your concerns about something like that, you can please share that concern, because I think we all have come across people in general in our daily life, or in a classroom situation, or in any situation for that matter. Sometimes we are very happy to interact with certain people, and sometimes we are very scared to interact with somebody. You know, just the person in front of you, himself or herself, will be a barrier for you to approach that person. So what is it that is lacking in this person, or what is it that puts you off to interact with that person, or to ask something, or to communicate at all, to start the conversation at all? It is nothing but the emotional intelligence. The very fact that a person is happy with himself or herself, and he is able to understand himself, makes other people approachable. If I cannot express my emotions, if I cannot understand my own emotions, and if I cannot express it to you, I will not be able to understand your emotions too. That is where the emotional intelligence part comes into picture. So I would like to share my screen and take you through the connectivity between emotional intelligence and why we need to connect it to the metacognitive skills, that is the creative and critical thinking skills. So can I share the screen? Can you see the screen, please?
Yes, ma'am,
Are
we
you
can.
able- Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. Is it good enough? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So, uh, just give me a minute. I think it's too big in my screen. So, is it okay now? Can you see?
Yeah, we are able to
Yes,
view,
ma'am.
ma'am.
We are
Okay.
able
Yeah.
to see.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So today we are going to see how the creative and critical thinking plays a major role in nurturing emotional intelligence in children. So, what is it that is part of emotional intelligence, and why a child has to be nurtured with emotional intelligence is what I'm going to talk about. So, the way we understand ourselves, our emotions, and the way we express it is going to play a major role in not only self awareness or self confidence, but also in our social relationships with others. So it's important that a child understands how to perceive the emotions. For example, if you take small children, they may cry for, in the beginning, they may cry for the food, they may cry if they are having pain, if they may cry if they are missing the mother. For everything, they will cry. But when they start growing up a little bit, I think we need to teach them why they are crying. Because unless we tell them, teach them how to express whether they're hungry, angry, sad, happy, depressed, whatever it is, or frustrated, or not able to achieve whatever the task which they're planning to achieve, then what happens is there is a missing link between what they are experiencing and what the mother or any teacher or anybody, any adult who is perceiving. So it's important that we teach the children how to, first of all, identify what they are going through, and then also understand why they are going through what they are going through, and then express it. So once they learn all these things, they should also know how to manage their emotions. For example, if child is very angry, we cannot be the that kind of a parent or a teacher where we have not trained the children to express the anger in the right way. Some people throw things, some people scream, some people beat. So we cannot actually use all these techniques to express the anger. That's one example I'm giving you. So what we need to do is we need to make the children to understand how to identify their emotions, how to understand them, and then how to use these emotions to interact with other people in their lives. And when they are having some negative emotions, how to manage them. That is also very important. So, this whole thing constitutes emotional intelligence. So, it leads to 5 important skill sets in children. One is self awareness. So, the child will be able to perceive what it is able to it is going through, the moods or the emotions or the drives, and how it is affecting others, how it is affecting himself or herself, and how it is going to affect the others. And as I told you, it results in self regulation, which is the ability to control or redirect the disruptive impulses or moods. So, when there is a negative emotion, the child should be able to regulate it to the benefit of the child itself and also to the benefit of the others around the child. Also, the child needs to be motivated to do some work which is beyond money or status. It's not that necessary that we always have to work towards uh, getting a name, fame, or money. It is much beyond that. The example is education influence itself. We are trying to reach out to people and children in need, teachers, parents, children in need, without having that factor of money or status. So when we go beyond that, I think it works at a very different level, and people will be happy just by doing the task. It's not going to give us any kind of benefit, or I can say materialistic benefit, but it makes you feel successful and happy because you have reached out to somebody in need and they are getting the needs met. Also, it makes a child become empathetic, because once the child is able to understand its own emotions, it can also understand the emotions of others. So it helps in understanding others and building social relationships, or managing and building relationships. So why do we need to nurture this? Do you think there is a necessity for nurturing emotional intelligence or not? Definitely, I think there is a need for it, because it helps in understanding oneself, managing oneself, being disciplined, being motivated, and have the drive to be a useful member in society. And also it helps in managing relationship with others. It could be building relationship with family and friends. It could be a conflict management with other members of the society. It could be in the workplace, it could be in the daily life, in the family, anywhere. So it's very important that we learn how to work in a team, how to collaborate, and how to empathize with others, and how to be service oriented rather than be selfish and meet only our own needs. So that's the reason I think it has to be nurtured very young in age. And as soon as a child is able to understand, we start nurturing the emotional intelligence. Now, why should we link the emotional intelligence with the metacognitive skills? As I was telling you, that the thinking skills are very important to nurture emotional intelligence. Why do I say this? I have been working with young children for the past 16 years and with teenagers for the past 30 years. So throughout my career, I realized that if a person is not able to understand oneself, or understand and manage the emotions which he is going through, then it becomes very difficult to interact with others and to have a good relationship. So this social relationship, if it is going missing, what happens is there will be a negative impact on educational outcomes, on all other achievements which the child goes through. Therefore, children have to be nurtured in such a way that they can understand their emotions through thinking, not just because a parent or a teacher says that, oh, you have to be very compassionate, you have to be kind, you have to be coordinating with others in your classroom. All these things we may teach them, but they should understand why they have to do all those things. Instead of just saying that you have to follow 1, 2, 3, 4 rules, we can nurture the thinking skills in the children, which makes them to understand why they need to behave in a particular way and how it impacts their relationships with others. So the linking between the thinking skills and emotional intelligence caters to the questions which I have depicted in this slide. What am I feeling? First of all, what am I feeling? So we come across many situations. Let's take a simple example of children in the classroom. Small children in the classroom, maybe 3 years old. If you take two children, if there is one single attractive toy, both the children want to have the toy to themselves. So there is a conflict there. So now, if you take the emotions which are going through each one of them, you can categorize them under these headings. So what is the child feeling? Why is the child feeling like that? Let's say the child is feeling the toy should be mine. I don't want to share it with the other friend. So why is the child feeling like that? The child has to understand that. and only then it has to take certain action. Once the action is decided, the child has to understand how it is going to impact itself and how it is going to influence the other person. So when you take an action and when you see the influence on yourself and the others, there will be some consequences. So the child has to analyze, what are these consequences? Is it beneficial to me and to the others around me? These are the links which have to be connected to the emotion, so that whenever we are doing something, we are going to not only take care of ourselves, we are also going to take care of the others. So this looks complicated, but it is not so complicated to link thinking skills with emotional intelligence. And I take two important thinking skills. One is the critical thinking, another is the creative thinking. So what does critical thinking do? Now, uh, when you want to view others, it's so easy for us to judge others, isn't it? Because they are in front of us and we are able to see their behavior. We are able to see what the situation is, what they are taking as a decision, how are they acting, and what are the consequences, whether it was a good choice or not. We are able to critically analyze somebody else's situation. But we have to be critical about ourselves. So we have to, if I am able to bring myself in front of me and look at myself as a third person and see my emotions, see my decisions, and see my actions and the impact it has on others and myself, then it is said to be critical thinking. So a person has to become critical in thinking, which is very important, because they